Hey everyone, welcome back to Terminally Yet Purposeful TYP. It's me, Megan. How's everybody doing today? I feel like I look a little bit sleepy because I had a biopsy this morning. But we'll talk about that, right? So I wanted to share just an update on my own personal cancer journey. What's going on in my world with cholangiocarcinoma, which is what I have, also known as bile duct cancer. Because I know a lot of my friends and family support me by watching this channel. Thank you so much for that. You guys mean so much to me. And, for those of you just curious, or for those of you going through it yourself, welcome to TYP, and I'm glad you found us. And as always, if you, this is helpful or you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us on any of the platforms, which is here or Facebook, Terminally Yet Purposeful, or reach out to me. Our Gmail address is terminalyetpurposeful@gmail.com. So, just an update. I had a big restaging appointment on last week. And restaging, at least for me, I get restaged every 3 months, and restaging is just kind of a milestone appointment. It's, I go in for scans. For me, that's usually an MRI. Some people get PET scans or CT scans. For me, it's an MRI. That's what my doctor prefers. That's what my cancer shows up best on, is an MRI. So I get an MRI every 3 months. My team of doctors review it. And then we go over it at kind of a milestone appointment and see where things are, look at my blood panels, see what's working, see what's not working. And if we need to change course or we need to do anything differently, that's when we do it, usually at the restaging appointments. So, last Wednesday was my restaging, and the Friday before I had an MRI and a CT scan scheduled. And I guess a lot of times when people think of cancer, they think that people pretty much only get PET scans, or that's the main way to diagnose cancer. That's not always the case. I've had a PET scan. I've had one, and it wasn't super helpful for my type of cancer. It's interesting. I'd be interesting to see if anyone else has that same journey. So I get MRIs. That's how my cancer shows up best on screen is through an MRI. So, went in on Friday morning for, I had a CT scan of my chest and an MRI it's essentially my full body. It's like base of my skull to your tailbone is generally what they do. And MRI scans aren't a lot of fun. It's about 45 minutes to an hour of you sitting in a tight tube. It's kind of loud. But, it's not the most fun thing in the world, but I've learned to live through it because it happens every 3 months, right? So, got my MRI. And I have a wonderful doctor over at Fox Chase Cancer Center. I highly recommend it. Great place to go. But my doctor's he's such a wonderful person. He knows that I get a lot of anxiety and worry around my scans. We call it scanxiety. That kind of hoping for the best, but praying it's not the worst, and just the anxiety around getting your 3-month scans can be a lot. So, went in for my MRI. It was kind of easy, this one. And by Friday afternoon, he had released the radiology reports from my scan so I could read them myself. Bless you. He's such a wonderful person. Just because he didn't want me to sit all weekend with that worry. So, he had told me by Friday afternoon that I had new growth, which we kind of expected, honestly. For those of you that are just watching this for the first time and don't know my whole cancer journey, in 2020, I was diagnosed with stage 4 intrahepatic cholangiocarcinoma, which is better known as bile duct cancer. And it's a cancer that started in my bile duct cancer within my liver. My cancer is mainly in my liver, but when it was diagnosed, it also spread to my lungs, my lymph nodes, my gallbladder, and a little bit beyond. So I started off with an aggressive chemotherapy treatment of cisplatin and gemcitabine that knocked it back a lot to just mainly being in my liver. And after that, I was on gemcitabine, and I've been on gemcitabine until just recently, gem alone, for over a year, and I've been stable. And for someone with advanced or metastatic or terminal cancer or disease, being stable is a really great place to be. Stable with no growth and your treatment is working. It's great, right? But, stable doesn't always last forever. So we had noticed some trends in my blood work, just things trending upwards, tumor markers going upwards, liver levels dropping. So kind of expected a little bit of new growth. So on Friday afternoon, my doctor told me, I had a spot that returned in my lungs, and I have a tumor growing on my adrenal gland. But actually my liver overall, not a ton of new growth, which is still good, right? Still good news. I'll take it. So on Friday afternoon, found that out. And he said, on Wednesday at Restaging, we'll revamp your treatment. We'll talk more about that. But we'll give you a new course of treatment, probably add cisplatin back to your chemo regimen. And, we'll talk more. And that's exactly what happened, right? So on Wednesday, my husband took off of work because it was a big appointment. We went in, got blood work, met with my doctor, and he said, I'm going to start you back on your cisplatin gemcitabine combo, which is kind of a harsher chemotherapy regimen, a lot longer. Gemcitabine alone, I was in and out of the chemo room in an hour. With cisplatin and gemcitabine, it's 6 hours. So that's significant, right? And it's different side effects. It's harsher. It affects more, but it really worked for me really well in the beginning, and we're confident that it'll work again in beating back some of this regrowth. So that's happening. I'm on a new chemo regimen with new side effects. Coincidentally enough, I do have magenta hair currently. And that happened because I had made a hair appointment for Saturday, the Saturday following my scan. And I made it 3 weeks earlier than that with, no anticipation. I was just going to go in there and get a regular haircut. But when I got the news that I had new growth and I was going to start back on cisplatin, and cisplatin made me lose my hair before. Not all chemo regimens make you lose your hair, but cisplatin does, in the past has made me lose my hair. So I went in on Saturday and I said, I was talking to my, my stylist, my colorist. And, I said, I was going to come in here and just ask for a regular haircut, but my chemo journey. She was the one that cut my hair short, when I was going through it the first time. Right. Said, unfortunately I have new growth. It'll be okay, but let's do something crazy. If I'm going to lose my hair, let's do something cool on the way out. Right. So we decided to color it pink and purple. So it is pink and purple. Maybe you can see that. So I do anticipate that I will lose most of this. I might have to shave it off. We'll see. If I do, we'll document that process. But I thought, my hair is going to go out in a cool way. I'm going to make the most of it. I'm going to dye it colors that I like and something that my nieces would enjoy. So, Mara and Addie, you're too young to see this, but Brie, hopefully you like it. And hopefully you see it before it all falls out, right? A couple times. So I thought of them a little bit, and I thought of myself too. What colors would I like? What colors would my nieces like to see in my hair? And pink and purple did the trick, right? So we all cope in different ways. This was one of my coping mechanisms, was to dye my hair pink and purple. You got to do what you got to do, right? So that's an update on my personal cancer journey. So, we have new growth, switching treatments. It's going to be okay. We're going to get through it. I'll probably lose my hair, but it's pink and purple in the meantime, and I'm cool with that, right? Another thing, I did say I looked sleepy because I had a biopsy today. So my new growth, I do have a tumor growing on my adrenal gland. I have not had great luck with biopsies. That is something that my care team has struggled with throughout my entire cancer journey. And I'm curious to see if anybody else here has cholangiocarcinoma or bile duct cancer or a type similar. If anybody else has this issue, let me know, because I'm curious to see. But when I was first diagnosed with cancer, I got a biopsy. Biopsies are really important because they let you know exactly what type of cancer you have. And they can also test your tumor cancers for gene mutations. And if you have a gene mutation, it can help with different types of chemotherapy or make you eligible for immunotherapies, which is really important and really cool. But the first time they did my biopsy, it was enough to tell them that I had cholangiocarcinoma, but not enough to see if I had any gene mutations. So it was a little bit of a botched biopsy. The second time and the third time that I had biopsies, they got really good tumor samples, but it was when I was on cisplatin, and I was having really good luck with cisplatin. Actually, it was working really well for me. So they got really good samples of my tumors, but then when they went to look at them, the tumor cells were already dead. So there was no genetic material that they could use in those samples. So I just had a biopsy today of my adrenal gland, of the tumor that's growing on my adrenal gland. And their hope is that, I just started cisplatin last week. I don't have a lot in my system yet to kill it off, we're hoping. So if they can get a good sample and see if I have any other gene mutations, that would be helpful. That would be the best case scenario, right? So I did have a liquid biopsy a few months ago. Liquid biopsy is just it's a blood test essentially. And they found out that I do have a BRCA2 mutation, which is good for chemotherapy treatments, but doesn't help us a lot with immunotherapy. But for bile duct cancer, they're doing some really interesting stuff with the gene mutations, IDH1, IDH2, and FGFR2. I'm assuming there's an FGFR1 as well. So we're hoping that if I have any of those helpful mutations, maybe I can can be eligible for immunotherapy. That could really help me out. So fingers crossed, right? But if something does come back from that biopsy, I'll do a what to expect on gene mutations. We'll talk about that and talk about immunotherapies because it's interesting. Something I don't fully grasp yet, but we'll see, right? But also my restaging, I signed up for a clinical trial that my doctor found, my wonderful oncologist. And it's basically a clinical trial that uses PARP inhibitors. PARP stands for a very, very long word that I'd have to Google. And I can't pronounce, but PARP inhibitors, it's a twice a day medication that you take in conjunction with chemotherapy sometimes by itself. And it basically inhibits the growth of certain types of cancers. And it's really helpful with people with pancreas cancer. Pancreatic cancer patients have really good success with PARP inhibitors. And I have a BRCA2 mutation, which is also found in some pancreatic cancers. And pancreatic cancer and bile duct cancer are unfortunately kind of similar. So I We'll see. um, there's some exciting stuff in the world of PARP inhibitors and their use with bile duct cancer. So I signed up for one. I won't know for probably many weeks if I am able to get into the trial or more information about that. But if that does happen, I'll let everybody know. We'll go through it, right? So fingers crossed for me. Fingers crossed that I can get into this clinical trial about PARP inhibitors because, it could really slow or stop the growth of a lot of really invasive cancers like bile duct cancer and pancreatic cancer and stuff like that. Yeah. So a lot of, so we had regrowth, right? We have regrowth. It's happening, but we're going to deal with it because that's what we do, right? We move forward. We keep fighting, keep living day by day. Keep trying to be grateful for the time that we have left, time that we have here, and trying to spend time with the people that we love and doing the things that we love and dyeing our hair crazy colors. And, if I do have to shave my hair, I think I'll document that as well for posterity for here. So we'll see. So yeah, that's my update. That's what's happening with me on my cholangiocarcinoma bile duct cancer journey. If there's anything that you want to see, anything that you want me to go over, please reach out to me on any of the platforms, which is here or on Facebook at Terminally Yet Purposeful. We're a group. Or email me, terminalyetpurposeful@gmail.com. So thanks for sticking with me today, everyone. Have a great night. Do something nice for yourself, and we'll see you soon. Okay, bye.